Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Shravanti and you're watching She Explains Everything. So, today I'm back with another interesting concept on Microsoft Word, which is the language translation option, right? So, how can we use that is what I'm going to illustrate in this video. So, this can be very useful for some of you who are looking to translate an entire document or parts of your document into some other language, and MS Word offers us a huge array of language options, which is very helpful for us to translate languages. So, let's see how we can use that, okay? So either you might want to translate your entire document or parts of your document, right? So you do your selection based on that. Let's say I want to select this whole part of it. I can either do this, or let's say I just want to translate this part of it. I'll select only that part of it and look into translating. Okay. So if it's the whole document, what you can do is you can either do this, or you can also click on Control plus A. Okay. So this is going to select the entire document for me. Now I just have to come onto this gray area and right click on my mouse, and here I see a translate option, right? So click on this translate option. Once I click on it, let's see what we get. Okay, so here firstly you have a from option and a to option. So from is the language from which you want to convert it. This is in English, right? So I'm going to mark it as English over here. And what is the language that I want to convert it to? Okay, so you have a lot of options of languages over here. If you see, you can browse through this. There are tons of options of languages that you can use. You can also have an auto detect option of your language if you want to, but we kind of know this is English, right? So I've already selected English and kept. Now let's say I want to convert this to Hindi, for example. Okay, let me just type Hindi and see. Okay, I'll select Hindi and let's see what we get. You see here, we got the entire text in Hindi. So it is both in the script will also be in Hindi, and also the words and everything, of course the meaning will also be in the Hindi language. For those of you who can read Hindi and understand Hindi, you can go ahead and read this and verify that it is done a very good job with the translation. And of course it might not be like 100% perfect. If your content is the grammar is pretty good and the words are pretty decently used, then the translator will do a very good job with your translation. Of course there might be a few errors here and there where it's not doing it perfectly, but you can read through the translation and fix those if anywhere you want to kind of fix it. But otherwise it does a very decent job of translating. Okay, so this is our from and to, and we were able to translate it to Hindi, right? So what you can do is, if you kind of want to insert this, if basically when you click on insert, what happens is the text which is available in English over here, it's going to get replaced to Hindi. Okay, so let me just click on insert and see what happens. So the whole thing has gotten replaced to Hindi, right? Let's say I don't want to really replace it right now. I want to illustrate some more options to you guys, so I'll just undo this option over here. Okay, and it's in Hindi over here. What I'll do is I'll just copy this. Okay, I'll take this and I'll just paste it over here to show you to play around with it a little more. Okay, so what I'm doing is, let me just close this again, and let me just select this part of it, and let's try to translate this. Let's do it back from Hindi to English and see what happens. Okay, so I'll click on the right click on it and again go back to translate, and now see, I can either choose auto detect. Let's just try to auto detect. Okay, so it's auto detected it into Hindi. Got it? So either you can do it, suppose sometimes you see a script and you really don't know which language it is in, so you can try to use the auto detect option. However, if you already know what language it is in, you can go ahead and type it also and you can choose it. So this is the from language. Now let's say I want to convert it to English, right? So I'm just going to type English and select English. So it's going to take a few seconds to load. Now, depending on the size of your document or the size of the text that you want to translate, it might take a couple of seconds to load, or sometimes it might hang if it's a very long document. You can think about that as well. Maybe you can do it in parts instead of all of it at once, because it might hang sometimes. Okay. Yeah, so it's converted this selected Hindi part into English again. Okay, so I can go ahead and insert. If I click on insert, the Hindi section over here is going to get replaced by English, if you see. So I can either do an insert. It's going to take a little bit time to load. Okay, so it's done it to moved it to English for me. Now let's say I kind of don't want to do that. I just come out of it also once, and let's say I just don't want to. I'll keep it in Hindi for now, just to play around with these options. Okay. So another thing to keep in mind is while you're doing the translation, do ensure that your entire document is in one language, or whatever is the section that you're looking to translate. Ensure that that whole thing is in one language, right? Because it won't make sense if I kind of want to translate this whole thing to some other language, because then my from section I will not be able to select properly, because is this English or Hindi, the from section will be very difficult to detect. So make sure that it's one single language that you're trying to translate. Okay, so that's quickly how we have seen how to translate. There's a from and a to, so you can do that. And there's one option over here where you want to kind of swap. This is nothing but it's just going to swap the from and to languages. So right now it says to English from Hindi, right? If I just want to swap it, I click here, it's going to say from English to Hindi. Okay, you can do a to and fro kind of back and forth kind of thing by swapping it over here if you want to. That's the other option available. Now the other option which you see over here is document. Okay, if you click on this document, basically what it's trying to do is, the meaning of this document option is basically if you have the entire document, and let's say this is my document and the whole thing is in English, and let's say I don't know, maybe it's some 8-9 pages long, right? And I want to convert and translate that entire document into another language and save it also. Okay, I don't want to lose my original copy. I just want to convert this whole thing that is in English to another language and save that also. So it basically what it does is it creates a translated copy of this document with the translator service. So I can just choose over here, for example, from English, let's say, to Hindi, and I'll just click on Hindi. And if I tick this option, always translate to this language, then basically whenever I come to translation on Microsoft Word, always start the translating documents to this language right away. So whenever document translation is requested, I don't want to kind of tick this right now because I want to leave it free. I'll come and manually select it whenever I want to translate, but I can just click on translate now after doing that. So the whole document has been translated to Hindi. So now I can go ahead and save this file, right? I can save it or save as a new document. Now one thing that you notice is once you have done the translation, what happens is you can't undo it. Okay, so that is one more thing to keep in mind. If you remember when we went to translate and I used it over here, right, from Hindi to English, let's say I did this and then I did an insert, for example. After I have inserted it, I can click on undo, but what happens is if I go to document and I translate it, then the entire document has been translated and there is no undo option as such over here. So if you see, for example, let's remove this Hindi part and you'll notice how there is no undo option. You see an undo right now, but after it's translated, there's no undo because my document has been completely translated. Okay, so yeah, this is how you use the translate to another language. So you can go ahead and explore all the variety of languages that are available, play around with this and translate the whole document or parts of your document, and go ahead and translate it over here as well. And if you want to, you can kind of explore a couple of settings over here, which are, these are not very important. This is just like, don't offer to translate documents or content in these languages. These are like permanent settings that you can play around with. But just for like, translation for a one-time kind of thing, you can just go ahead and do the selection or the document option and translate your document. So you can go ahead and try this out and let me know. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. And if you have any doubts or questions, you feel free to drop it in the comment section and I'll do my best to try and help you guys. Okay? All right. Thank you so much and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.